Welcome everyone to Into the Wild League Week 6. Apologies for the delay. We've got a great match, the first of 3 tonight if I'm not mistaken. We have JonahRah versus GetMeowth, two titans battling it out on a theme week. Of course, with me as always is my dependable co-caster Jellycat. How are you doing tonight?
Blue, the voice of a generation. How are you this evening?
A little stressed from work. I apologize. I am the reason why we are a little late. Happy to be
Hey,
relaxing, watching some Hearthstone. It's what the doctor ordered.
hey, we all understand that a lot of us do have lives outside of Hearthstone. Uh,
Do we?
you should never let it happen again, but this one time we will let real life take precedence.
So, I'm thinking usually we go through the rules, maybe to expedite things, we skip that, but why don't you talk about this week's deck restriction and then we can go ahead and start game 1.
Yeah. Happy to. So I'll just say real quick, best of 5 format. So there are going to be at least 3 games, up to 5 matches, and the deck restrictions this week are you are required to bring 1 deck with maximum 4 spells, 1 deck with maximum 4 minions, 1 deck with 50-50, 15 of each. You can substitute weapons and DK for either spells or minions. Weapons and hero cards. There are non-Death Knight hero cards now. But you can substitute weapons and hero cards for either minions or spells, but you have to do so evenly. So I'm pretty excited to see what we get tonight, Blue. We've got, Meowth has brought Mage Priest Hunter. Jonah has brought Mage Priest Druid. So we could see some pretty interesting mirror matches. We could see vastly different decks depending on where they've decided to apply these restrictions. So, Blue, are our players ready to go?
I believe they are. Let me send the signal, and without ado, we can get into game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So while you're doing that, I'll just recap real quick what the league rules are for anybody who is totally new. I know this is the lead off for our Friday night fights. So it is a best of 5 format where everyone brings 3 classes. There are no bans, and you're required to win with all 3 classes to win. What's unique about Into the Wild is that we do this on a weekly rotating basis. So week 1, you can choose any 3 classes. Week 2, you choose 3 of the 6 that are left. And week 3, you're required to bring the last 3 decks. So Blue, this is week 6. So this is week 3 of that rotation. So these players are bringing the whatever 3 decks they had left over. So right off the bat, we can see that Meowth queued up what looks to be a minion priest. And on the flip side, Jonah has queued up what also looks to be a minion priest. We might be looking at a priest mirror here. We've got Dragon Priest from both players. And, I'm not going to say it because I don't quite know if I saw it, but we might be seeing a pretty even mirror match here. So pretty powerful historian there from Meowth. And we got the early Wormrest agent from Jonah. So both players getting off to a great start, really curving out with these dragon support cards.
Yeah, we got Meowth has the operative for a really powerful turn 5, but JonahRah's got that mind control, which is a pretty devastating tech in the slower, grindier matches such as this one. So, I think that right now they're both in a pretty good position, but Jonah has a slight edge with that top heavy hand that's gonna serve him pretty well, I think.
Yeah, that is true, although Meowth does have some potential power from that Bran and that Free from Amber.
Yeah, nice pickup there.
If we see, I don't want to give anything away, but if we see that Bran hit any high value battle cries, it could really swing this game. So we've got some great early minions out of both players. Pretty even, I'd say, mostly inconsequential board at this point. Jonah using the Acolyte to clear a minion, just trying to keep board control at this point. GetMeowth able to snag any card in his own deck, essentially, at this point. He goes for the big boy, the Grand Archivist. I think just trying to get value. We know he's got another free from Amber in the deck, so that Archivist, assuming that he's able to keep the free from Amber in the deck, the Archivist can hit that free from Amber once or twice, which could be some pretty good value. Scale Worm is huge. It's going to, I think, allow Meowth to take back this board. And at this point right now, the players aren't terribly concerned about their life total, really just worried about who has board control. They're hoping that their late game minions, their Primordial Drakes, their free from Ambers, can put the game away. They want to keep the board small until then.
Duskbreaker showing itself why it's one of the premier dragons. Nice cleanup there.
Yeah, absolutely huge. This Night Scale Matriarch can really get out of hand if left alone, though.
Yeah, 4 attack minions, the traditional bane of Priest. Has lots of removal options, Priest, but typically can't deal with those 4 attack minions. And there's the big swing taunt from the Spiteful Summoner. Let's see what we get. Alright, a little bit of a whiff. I suppose could have been worse.
Could have been better at 8 mana, but it certainly could have been worse. We're going to see Meowth take care of this Spiteful, it looks like. So the 4 attack here, not as important in this deck. We're unlikely to be seeing Shadow Word Pain as the one of 4 spells that they decided to play. I think we've got 2 free from Ambers and 2 mind controls.
Yeah, a little bit of a low roll there on the Archivist. I think Meowth would have liked to have gotten that Divine Shield guy or the Spiteful Summoner.
Yeah, absolutely. He might have even liked to hit a free from Amber instead of that mind control. Pull a big 8-cost taunt, something like that. But it's better than nothing. It does make that Archivist a big target for Jonah if it weren't already. So he takes that out. The Loatheb, not as important in this match. Super good if he happens to queue into the all spells deck, but here all he's doing is preventing that free from Amber. Looks like Meowth is going to try to get some value from that heal, make a minion and draw a card. What do you think he's looking for at this point? Well, he's apparently looking for Scalebane because that was a snap play.
Yeah, definitely both players are fighting. This is a real slug out for the board. I think the idea here is that eventually, will be depleted of resources, and the person who's left with the board, once those resources have been depleted, will be in the dominant position. So right now, it's still a slugfest. Meowth does have a bit of a wider hand, lower life total. But Priest tends to expend its resources slowly, so I think this is still an undetermined outcome. Certainly getting an operative, a double operative, is going to really help in the resource battle. Getting another operative off that operative, yikes.
So I think Meowth is probably feeling pretty good about his hand right now. I think Jonah is probably feeling pretty okay about these life totals right now. You see Meowth trying to even it out. I do think that kind of value is going to be difficult for Jonah to overcome unless he's able to generate a similar amount of value. That said, he does have Twilight Guardian, and he may just be able to put this game away before Meowth can recover if he's able to draw into another dragon.
Yeah, the mind controls here are going to do some work. I mean, if Meowth decides to opt for a big taunt or a free from Amber, this is going to be a pretty rough turn. So it'll be interesting to see if Meowth plays around it or plays into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see if Jonah, if Meowth plays into it with a big minion, if Jonah goes mind control, Or if he just goes something like Historian into Dragon so he can play that Twilight Guardian. That is a perfectly reasonable play as well. Looks like Meowth just decides to clear the board, protect his life total.
Clearly making the right decision.
Yeah, and so he does. So Jonah does go with that Historian into Dragon, probably so that he can play the Twilight Guardian. He goes with the most aggressive option, the Cobalt Scalebane. I think that's a good choice at this point with Meowth sitting at 17, and Jonah knowing that this is not a deck likely to be able to play any amount of large healing. So Jonah drops the Giggling Inventor, makes it pretty difficult to clear board here. He's really, I mean, he's showing only 8 on board, but he's made it pretty difficult for Meowth to.
Meowth getting a Giggling Inventor of his own.
Yeah.
This is interesting. You know, a couple turns ago, it looked like maybe Meowth would have had the resources to steamroll, but like I said earlier, you know, the Priest doesn't require a lot to stabilize, and we're starting to see those hands even up a bit. Board states are looking pretty much in an even fashion here. You know, this is a pretty interesting mirror match as far as mirror matches go, and a fairly swingy game.
It's definitely very back and forth, but like I said, Jonah is still able to keep the board pretty heavy at this point. Meowth goes heavy on that Drake, able to take care of a lot of Jonah's board, leaving an 8 health taunt up. Jonah's got enough to clear it, but do we just see the mind control 8 to face here?
I think we do. I think this is where, this is where we have to see Jonah start to apply that pressure, because, you know, the mind control was his last big swing. He does have some good tools in his hand, but yeah, I suspected we'd see face kind of asking the question for Meowth to answer.
So we're going to see another taunt out of Meowth, just trying to stay alive at this point.
Opting to draw instead of heal. I can't
at this
for that.
At this point, I think he's seeing his 6 life total. The difference between 6 and 8 is negligible. And the mind control is going to put the game away, I think. He's not able to play it this turn, but next turn he can take care of that taunt and swing for lethal.
Able to keep that pressure up, although Meowth gets his own Spiteful Summoner. It could potentially be a Last Gambit or a Free from Amber. There's also some clear options as well that won't quite do it.
Yeah, so Meowth really needs to clear the entire board at this point. That Spiteful is going to pull a 10-cost minion with that, but unless it pulls pretty massive 10-cost taunt, it's not something that Meowth is going to be super happy about, and I don't think he's worried. So Jonah forgoes the 4 damage to face to instead develop his board. Probably the correct play.
Yeah, he wants that mind control to put lethal up, should he opt to use it.
He's showing lethal right now, so Meowth is going to do his best to clear this board again, I think. What Jonah does not want to be faced with is a mind control pass that does no damage to face and allows Meowth to just clear whatever minion is mind controlled. So a huge pickup from Meowth here. This allows
full clear.
Not quite a full clear, but he does get the important minions off the board.
Yeah. Ensuring that mind control won't present lethal.
So, unfortunately, with the inability to attack heroes, Ice Howl does not present lethal from the mind control. Any other large minion would have. Jonah's going to take it anyway because he doesn't want that thing continuing to clear his board, and he obviously wants to use it to clear the board himself.
And no direct answer to this. I mean, I'm sure Meowth will scratch something, but this is interesting. We're getting to this place where the board's evenish. The only card that JonahRah has is that Guardian. This is where Meowth might actually stabilize and run away. That battle of the resources kind of showing its head. Although Grand Archivist's a nice pickup if there's any juice left in the deck to fire off on that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So Meowth does not have to clear that Ice Howl. It can't kill him. He does have to clear the other minion.
Pretty nice pickup from that free from Amber that
Yeah.
randomly.
That
big
Arcane Giant is pretty huge.
Pretty scary.
Large enough to be a pretty decent threat to GetMeowth. And Snap about as fast as you can pick that Obsidian statue.
Snap pick Obsidian statue, one of the most obnoxious cards in the game.
GetMeowth, easily the fastest Discover player I have yet to see. On several of his Discovers tonight, he has just been ruthless.
Wow!
Once again,
another Ice Howler.
Another Ice Howl from Jonah. Not what he wanted to see. Probably wanted it to kill the Ice Howl, but hitting for 8 to face, pretty huge there. Meowth has to hope for an RNG answer here, and does he get there? He doesn't get there. That's it.
He gets probably the worst 10-drop he could in this situation.
That is it. Opts not to go for the taunt that Jonah could just take care of.
And Jonah completing his play minion quest or something, opting for a little.
Well, so he didn't have lethal on the board. Meowth's hero power puts him at 2 away from lethal. So he's got one more shot here. He's gonna go with the Spiteful. Unfortunately, the Worm Rest does not prevent lethal because of that huge Ice Howl there. Katrina not going to do it, unfortunately.
Nope.
And that's...
Even with the taunt.
That's still lethal for Jonah, and we're going to go to game 2.
Yeah, so, Jonah was able to grind him out.
So Priest down for Jonah in the mirror match. Jonah has Tog Druid and Reno Mage left. He's got the mostly spell deck and the 50-50 deck left. Meowth still has all 3. Priest, Mage, Hunter. Let's get these 2 players to queue up their next match and see what we get out of them.
Yeah, and I have to send my kudos to Jonah there, because for those with keen hearing probably heard a quest go off. I got my watch and learn off that game, so got a pack to open after. Feeling pretty good.
Well done, well done. I will be asking about that later. But, big props to both players there. Really difficult match, I'd say. It seemed like they both knew what they were doing. Both of them playing fairly quickly in a match that is pretty hard. Jonah able to stay in that match longer than maybe we thought. So both players have queued up now. GetMeowth has queued with what looks like Spell Hunter. Jonah has queued what looks like a 50-50 Mage. It looks like we're seeing Reno Mage out of Jonah versus Spell Hunter out of Meowth. Does look, Blue, like you missed a little bit of that mulligan, but we will get right into this game. We start with discovering a secret from Meowth. He doesn't know whether Jonah is all spell or 50-50 mage, so he doesn't know whether that freezing trap is going to be a smart pick. Unfortunately, he is stuck with minion secret. Not uncommon. He didn't get any of the secrets that he was probably looking for there.
But there's your favorite subject 9.
Yeah. Those of you who have been watching for a while know that I've been waiting for to play Subject 9 since this league started. So it looks like tonight I could finally get my wish.
I just want to call out that JonahRah is playing one of my personal favorite decks. This is a Reno OTK mage. It's been featured in the Into the Wild League a couple times. This is the deck that runs Malagos, Antonidas, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, Leyline Manipulator, and Bran. The idea is that you get a bunch of fireballs in your hand with cheap spells and then discount them to 0, and then OTK with 0 mana fireballs and Malagos. It is an awesome, fun deck, and I'm glad to see it featured here once again. And
Yeah, we've been talking about this deck a lot lately. I mean, I think those of us in this sort of slightly insular community end up having a few pet decks, and this mage deck is one of them. I've got to pause from that discussion for just a second to point out the Yogg Saron that is at the top end of Meowth Spell Hunter. So hopefully we will be seeing 5 secrets off Subject 9 and a juicy Yogg Saron at the end there. But Jonah's deck, interestingly, is pretty close to 50-50 just with an optimal list. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, I've never counted because I've never had a reason to, but it'll be interesting to see if Jonah has had to make any concessions with this list to keep it to 15 minions, 15 spells. You know, he's able to go 14 minions, 15 spells, or 14 spells, 15 minions because he is playing Jaina, who's able to be one or the other. So Jonah hoping not to draw into his Malagos until he's able to Pocket Galaxy, although the Pocket Galaxy is really just gravy. He's able to combo off the entire OTK combo without it. As you can see, he's already got the Antonidas in hand, and this Antonidas is not looking to OTK on his own the turn played. He's just looking to play as many spells as possible on the Antonidas turn. So ideally, you're looking to keep that coin for the Antonidas turn if you can, but clearly there, Jonah saw the value of that Blizzard and had to take a shot when he could.
So normally I'd say the Reno Mage deck would be favored, but you know, that Deathstalker Rexar is going to really put a lot of pressure on throughout the game. There are limited resources in Reno Mage to deal with threats, and Rexar just generates a new zombies threat every turn. I wouldn't say that this is a death blow by any sense, but it's definitely making this game a little bit more of a match and less of a one-sided control matchup. Throw in the top end of the Yogg and maybe some other tricks that Meowth has, and I think we got ourselves a game. And speaking of tricks,
so you see Jonah going for that 1 mana Kazakis potion, not something we often see, and I just want to point out the reason for that 1 mana Kazakis is the Archmage Antonidas. Because Jonah had to coin early, he doesn't have the coin for Antonidas, and you're really looking for 4 fireballs off of Antonidas. So ideally, you want 3 one
fireballs, cost. Three fireballs with Malagos should be enough to OTK, but you know and there's the Malagos before the Pocket Galaxy comes up. But the thing is that
that's okay.
You know, the problem is when you play this Reno Mage deck and you have to expend your resources, it further makes that OTK more difficult. So the 1 mana potion should help with that, and that's why this deck's so challenging to play. Because do you save your resources and be greedy, or do you expend them to survive? And that's the conundrum.
So that cat trick is pretty huge in this matchup. The others not as important. Just because Jonah is not likely to be attacking anytime soon. In fact, if Jonah suspects any of these types of secrets from Meowth, he probably won't end up attacking at all. You know, I think it's why Thalnos just sat around for a while there.
Nicely played. Full clear, Doomsayer. Probably read the cat trick because, as you said, it was the only one that really, you know, would lean into him.
Yeah, I mean, he saw Meowth with a choice of 5 secrets, and 1 secret came down. So pretty obvious that you're gonna see the cat trick there. He was ready for it. Great play from Jonah.
These lock and loads are gonna certainly be interesting. Lock and load Yogg Hunter is
Yeah,
certainly
not
true to Meowth's MO of bringing interesting, slightly off meta decks.
potentially not what you want to be climbing the ladder with right now, but I do love to see interesting things. He does have 1 more lock and load, so he's going to be able to get that Yogg pretty high. The question is whether Jonah is going to be able to draw into the Bran Leyline Manipulator early enough.
Nice pickup.
So he does have the 1 mana Reno. He's probably going to keep that for a couple of turns right now. Without Meowth's 2 damage hero power, Jonah's not likely in terrible danger, although that Zombeast can get a 1/1 charger at any point, obviously off of half of it, so can essentially add charge and +1/+1 to any minion for 1 when you're discovering. So that's always something he's got to worry about. But Jonah drops that ice block so that he can really just save that Reno until the ice block is popped and then play it the very following turn for maximum value.
I mean, Jonah's got to drop Jaina next turn, right? I mean, that was a nice pickup. Ice block and Jaina off the Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty huge. I don't think he's in a position to wait for something cheeky. He probably just wants to start taking care of things like this Informant early. Although Bran into Jaina is the correct play. It's incredible. It's what he should do right now. Don't even think about it. Snap play Bran into Jaina.
He needs to save his Bran for his Leyline Manipulator. Oh, you were being sarcastic with me. I can't tell. I just got wrecked on stream.
If you can double your 3/6 water elemental, you have to do it.
No, we got to save it for Leyline, right? I don't know. What do I know?
You absolutely save it. I'm just kidding.
So for our audience, I just got punked on stream. Let the record so note it.
If this weren't OTK Mage, I think it's probably smart to drop a couple of water elementals and get that lifelink going. But Jonah has no chance to grind this out. Meowth is just going to make sure that he pulls minions that aren't easily affected by that hero power and by the elementals. He's going to take care of the elementals and try to make sure he never spawns more. So I think we're going to see that 1/1 into the elemental right now, just so that Jonah doesn't have an easy second elemental. Looking for health here. Perfect. That's exactly what he wants. He wants to put it out of range of the elemental plus hero power here. So right now we're in a situation where that elemental can't hit any of these minions without killing them. So Jonah has no good hero power option, and that's exactly what Meowth wants, and he wants to keep doing that. Additionally, Jonah must know that there are a couple of secrets here that care about attacking minions and attacking face. So it's going to be tough for him to attack with that elemental.
But he probably wants to clear those secrets because eventually he could start using his elementals to gain life, despite triggering, secrets that might give him a hard time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he has to attack. It's just he's kind of hoping for some good secrets here. With that Zola in hand, I mean, Jonah has Reno into Bran, Zola on Reno plus the Leyline when he draws it, which is going to be 1 mana. I see this going in Jonah's fashion. With Ice Block into Reno into Zola, it's going to be tough for Meowth to make a large enough presence on board
Nicely sequenced by Jonah there. He almost played the meteor, but he knew it would proc a cat trick, so he managed to play around it, get him lined up perfectly, drop the meteor, full clear.
Yeah,
Very nicely
absolutely.
done.
We're seeing some perfect play from Jonah there. A couple times here, predicting the secrets correctly. I'm not sure what Meowth is doing there. Perhaps he's hoping that he can get another zombie to shuffle into his opponent's deck. I guess he just needed a 1-mana minion. But if he is able to shuffle 2 weasels into Jonah's deck, he can turn off Reno.
Weasels are a viable strategy. There goes
So,
Bran, but not quite dead from that snipe. Gonna get those fireballs in hand, which will be integral to that combo that we're going to see.
A fatal mistake.
Oh,
so not sure what Jonah was going for here. He goes Antonidas into a single spell. What did I miss?
yeah, opting to put Antonius back in his hand. I guess he wasn't able to get the full hand of fireballs that he would need for an OTK.
Yeah, I mean, that's clear. Perhaps he just forgot that he played that spell earlier to trigger the cat trick, and he was hoping for a couple of fireballs.
Although putting the Antonius back in his hand, not a complete loss as of yet.
Yeah, it does make Meowth probably have to deal with his board. That said, that 3/7 Poisonous Rush also damages minions next to Zombies. Pretty key pickup. Ridiculously powerful. I would play that for 8 mana all day long. That would certainly make some interesting meta decks.
Breaking news, I've been informed that I owe the stream an apology. It is a Yogg and Load Hunter. I apologize for my lack of game knowledge. Clearly on display earlier when I fell for the Bran double water elemental with Jaina traps. So EC, please accept my humble apologies.
So apparently this deck is common enough to have a name. I also did not know this. But Meowth getting that Cloaked Huntress for what, let's be honest, is 0 mana Yogg additions.
Oh, the flare. Getting rid of the ice block.
So the flare would have been really nice when his opponent was not at 25. It is nice to take care of the ice block so that you only have to kill your opponent twice instead of 3 times, but not as good as it could have been earlier in this game.
Still, it feels good, and isn't that what matters?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what Hearthstone's all about, right? Reddit tells me that all the time.
Yeah, it's about feelings.
He's got 2 spells off of this Antonidas, so he's going to try to go off with just 3, which is totally fine if Meowth is not able to generate any armor. 3 spells will hit 33 if I'm any good at math.
You are correct. You are good at math.
That said, Yogg has quite a few combinations that can generate armor, so...
And Jonah's going to need 2 turns to pull this off, right? 1 turn to discount the fireballs, and then another turn to play the full costed Malagos. So had the Pocket Galaxy discounted the Malagos, he wouldn't be able to do it all in 1 turn. So while the Pocket Galaxy isn't essential, we can see here where that extra value comes in. It turns the 2-turn KO into a 1-turn KO. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So Meowth doesn't know that, and he has to know this deck, so he has to know that there's a possibility that Jonah could now 1-turn KO. Obviously, if he could do it now, he would have already done it. Interesting to know if Jonah knows this deck, because he's been holding that Dirty Rat all game. Wonder if he happens to know that he has the option of hitting a Yogg-Saron with that Dirty Rat. At this point, though, with so many, I think he knows he should know there are 2 Reno creations in. I'm sorry, Rexar creations in
Oh, here we
hand.
go.
So I think it's correct not to play the Dirty Rat.
Here we go. Fan favorite.
So
Losing his board to Zonyog.
kill his own minions, make a couple bursts.
He's gonna get
Deal
quite a
few
few
damage
procs off that
face.
Yogg.
Okay, kill that dude. Make another dude.
Uh-oh.
Humility everything. Okay, where's the health go? Nowhere.
It went into a
couple
fully statted minion.
taunts, that's fine.
There's the
Deck of
Scroll
Wonders, that is key. Super fun. Sure,
Oh,
let's
wow.
put the Yogg back in hand so that we
Yeah.
can do it again next turn.
Yeah, one wasn't enough.
Jonah's still looking for that ley line. Meowth is going to burn a card next turn. That
giggling inventor, which fits nicely with Jaina.
Yep, giggling inventor, pretty big there. Interestingly, Scroll of Wonders does not trigger because it burns itself.
Yeah, Meowth's got 10 cards in his hand.
So this will take the Divine Shield from both of those dudes. A couple of rush minions will kill one of them. The bow can kill another one. Meowth just really wants to make sure he does not leave a 1 health minion on board at this point.
A fair concern. I mean, this is really just a race to ley line at this point. I mean,
yeah, it really is. So Jonah needs ley line and 2 turns, right? So at any point, he's 2 turns away from the win right now. That Acolyte will help him get there quicker. I wonder if you just go Acolyte, ping it at this point.
The 1 mana Reno will help him realize that 2 turn, because no matter what turn he's sequencing his combo, he can always just chuck out Reno. Well, he would need to on turn 2, but he can combo it on turn 1 with Bran and Leyline.
Yep, so there's the Leyline. We're likely to see Bran Leyline right now. Probably not going to see the Reno because there's no need for it. 3 health does not make a difference, and Meowth must know that he's dead next turn.
So we're going to see that YOLO Yogg number 2.
Here it is. Let's see if we can get an ice block off of this.
Maybe he'll get Demonic Project and get the Malagos.
Hey, that could also happen. Okay. Scroll of Wonder to add 1 more? Sure, let's draw 3. Kill a couple dudes. Oh yeah, why don't we give Bran taunt? Okay, let's kill Bran. Nope. Okay. Still nothing. And Yogg kills himself. Oh, sorry. That is not upgraded. I'm not used to seeing a base level. Burn a couple more cards. That was his chance there. If that spell, I don't actually know if it can off of Yogg, but if that spell had given him 12 armor, that could have kept him in the game. Do you have any idea if Branching Paths is able to choose armor off of Yogg?
So it's random. So it'll choose one of the 3 options randomly.
So it could theoretically, he got the Branching Paths. He could have got to keep him in that game.
Yeah, it could have armored up twice. It's just random. As far as I understand, I'm sure chat will point out if I'm incorrect, and I'll get a chance to check in a moment. But I'm pretty sure it would pick it at random.
I'm asking Meowth if he knows, but yeah, let's let him queue up again, and
yeah, why don't you send the signal?
We'll see. Like same question I ask every time. We'll see if we get the Mage out of Meowth. We're obviously going to see the Druid out of Jonah. Yep, so we do see the Mage. And we're seeing, obviously, off of Meowth, we're seeing the 50-50 Mage. And out of Jonah, we're seeing the max 4 minions Druid. So we see Kuhn and Tog. I'll give you one guess what the other 2 minions are, Blue.
I don't know. Azalina Soul Thief, and
tough to say. What else would you play in that
what's
deck?
that other one? It's in the banner of the wild Reddit.
I don't know. I've forgotten at this point. I've scrubbed my memory of all the Druid cards. So, for anyone who happens to not be a longtime Wild player, Jonah's deck is called Tog Druid, and what he's doing is hoping to stall the game long enough to get to 10 mana. He wants to play Aviana, who costs 9 mana and says all your minions cost 1. And he wants to play a 1-mana Coon, which you can see in hand right there. Coon is a 7/7 for 10 that says choose 1, either gain 10 armor or refresh your mana crystals. So he wants to play Aviana followed by Coon to refresh his mana crystals. And at 10 mana, he then wants to pay 2 mana to play King Togwaggle, which swaps decks with your opponent and gives them a ransom spell. Then he wants to play Azalina Soul Thief to steal that ransom soul back, meaning that ransom spell back, meaning that if your opponent switch decks back, they will get whatever they're able to draw that turn before you switch it back yourself.
So controversial opinion here. People have been complaining about Starliner Druid. I find Togwaggle a lot more frustrating to play against, because win-lose, the game is going to take a long time, unless of course you concede.
Yeah, it certainly can take a while. We're not seeing heavy acceleration from Jonah. Obviously, as soon as I say Jade Blossom, but we're not seeing a turn 4 combo that Tog Druid is capable of. So we're likely to see Jonah comboing in 3 or 4 turns from now. This deck can play Psych Melon. I don't know if Jonah is playing them. Psych Melon has the benefit of drawing all 4 of Aviana, Coon, Azalina, Togwaggle. When Psych Melon was first announced, that's what Wild players were super upset about, was the fact that it draws this entire combo. So obviously he is playing the Psych Melon. It's going to draw him a single card. It's just going to draw him Azalina. So 2 turns until he's able to Togwaggle. Meowth has to get a huge board presence as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Togwaggle he will. There are no dirty rats on this list, so he's basically got to race the clock.
Yep, so Meowth really hoping for something huge from those unexpected. Right now he's going to be summoning 2 random 6-cost minions. I think that's all he's got at this point. That's his whole hope. Jonah able to Bioproject in combo next turn if he wants. Looks like he's going to Poison Seed. Interesting to see if he Bioprojects and combos. Now, JonahRah, Meowth doesn't know whether Jonah plays Malfurion. I happen to know that he does, so Jonah might be trying to stall the game long enough that he can draw into his Malfurion, because it's the only good card left in his deck right now. The rest of his deck is bad and will lose to Meowth, and that's the point, because he wants to give the deck to Meowth. So he does decide to go ahead and combo off this turn. Not going to be waiting for the Malfurion. So we're likely to see... we're not going to see him play anything after he combos. We're just going to go straight into Meowth's hand and try to play it. So Meowth in a really tough position here. He's going to hope, I think, to draw into Malfurion. He's going to hope to draw into Poison Seeds to take care of this large board that Jonah's going to be left with. Okay, so he does Wild Growth there before playing out the combo. Wasn't sure if he was going to do that. And so now, in addition to having Meowth's hand, he knows exactly what's in Meowth's hand. Nothing terribly concerning at this point without spell power. When Meowth had 4 spell power, those flame cannons could have done some damage, but right now they're not able to do nearly as much. So that Wild Pyromancer is an interesting pickup, along with the +1 spell damage on the Spell Shifter. So we're going to be able to take care of a couple of minions here.
Nourish is decent too. He could always swap decks back and pull 3 cards out of it.
Yeah, that's certainly true. If he's able to get 3 good cards out of his own deck, force his opponent to pay 5 mana on the following turn. So Meowth is certainly still in this. Considering that this is the final match, if Jonah wins, there's no reason for Meowth to give up yet. Jonah pulls that Aluna.
Something tells me we're not going to see it played. Or will we?
Of course, he snap plays it as soon as you say that.
Well,
I gotta wonder.
Yeah. So maybe it won't swap decks back, because if Meowth can get Malfurion and just stall out, I mean, that's a pretty fast fatigue. Although there's going to be some burn tools. Bit of a risky gambit. You know, Jonah up 2 games probably feels comfortable that he could maybe take a few more calculated risks. He has that going for him, whereas Meowth has to play very conservatively to try and force another game. So, yeah.
But
what do I know?
I mean, with that branching path and 12 armor, there's at least one more ferocious howl in there. Meowth has quite a few options to stall this game. That said, that's a big pyroblast, as big as pyroblasts come. It's gonna get bigger when that cult sorcerer hits play. Meowth deciding to pop the Nat Peggle for one.
Yeah.
What's that?
He should leave the Nat Peggle, draw more cards, you know, just get the game over with more quickly.
Well, Meowth knows that his entire deck is burned, so...
I suppose that's true.
Maybe he does not want that, that deck continuing to draw.
It's gonna be
we're going to see
nasty Frostbolt.
Quite a few damage pretty quickly, and Jonah making the incredibly smart play of killing this Alaneth so that he's not going to fatigue his entire deck. So he's got 2 more draws. Sorry, 1 more draw off that Alaneth. So he just has to, you know, figure out a way to kill his Nat Peggle. Which doesn't look like Meowth is going to do for him. Meowth probably wants to Wrath that Coon. Yeah, there we go. And Spellstoning the Sorcerer, Hero Powering the Celestial Emissary for a pretty efficient full board. Well, I shouldn't call it efficient.
It's a clean sweep there, leaving the Nat Peggle. Although, as you said earlier, that's a lot of burns starting to rack up.
It's a bit of a gamble for sure. I mean, not being great at math, Jonah still has 19 damage in hand without spell power.
Yep.
And with that Celestial Emissary, he's able to turn that into 21 damage.
Oh man.
Make that 24 damage with the Frostbolt, so he's got lethal next turn.
Yeah, easy lethal.
Even through Spreading Plague, so we're gonna have to see probably a Ferocious Howl into Branching Paths for into double. Oh, sorry, I can't do it this turn, but maybe Branching Paths next turn as well if he can keep himself alive. Meowth just looting every chest that he's able to loot at this point.
Jonah showing why it's the king of gaining armor.
We saw that turn. Jonah decided not to continue killing his Alaneth. I think he's just feeling like he's able to put the game away at this point. And Double Sorcerer's Apprentice does do a pretty good job at that. Along with that Cult Sorcerer, we're looking at 18 damage out of hand here.
Definitely putting him back in range, although Jonah doesn't know that Meowth has yet another Branching Paths.
So that Psych Melon draws nothing right now, but if he is able to ransom, he can Psych Melon something out of his own deck. So Meowth goes with the Poison Seeds, and I think we're going to see a couple chests looted here.
Yeah, Spreading Plague.
Oh no,
he's going to buff.
He decides to loot only a single chest. and instead explore those caves a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to make sure that those apprentices can't attack in with impunity, as well as that cult sorcerer. Little does he know there's a massive arcane explosion coming, so Jonah does still have lethal damage in hand. Unfortunately, he's not able to quite get there ever. Um, Interesting call from Jonah.
Get the 3 cards out of his own deck before he breaks the Alaneth.
Yep. So it's pretty smart, I think, just making sure that he doesn't fatigue
Wow.
himself there.
Getting the Malfurion and the swipe. Pretty nice
Yeah,
pickup.
pretty huge, and unfortunately, we're looking at lethal for Jonah.
And that'll be
So,
it.
well done for both players here. Not sure if Jonah is available to jump on a call, but let's check and see if either of them want to hop on a call to talk about that match.
Yeah, if you can message them, that'd be spectacular, Jelly. I think that what we're seeing here is where, for the first half of the league, every game we cast together went to game 5. I believe this is the 3rd or 4th game in a row that was a 3-0 sweep. So, an unfortunate new trend in our casting career. We seem to be the harbinger of sweeps.
Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't jinx, but hey, it's a little bit of karma, I think, because the last match that I cast with you was also a Meowth 3-0 sweep, unfortunately in the opposite direction. So we're seeing a little bit of.
Oh,
Hey, Meowth Blue, are you on call?
I am. Sorry. Didn't see that cut over there. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
No,
Anyways, we're
my
all here
fault.
now.
I hit it before I said anything. So not sure if Jonah is going to be able to join us or not, but Meowth did want to take a second to chat with you at least. I wanted to say well played. I think you did the best that you could there. Last week we saw 3 super powerful decks out of you, and we saw a 3-0 sweep. This week it looked like you decided to meme a little bit, and we saw a 3-0 sweep in the other direction. How are you feeling?
So last week I was like, I gotta hit playoffs, so I brought some real decks. Jonah has no chance at making playoffs, so I thought he'd meme with me, because especially since it's a restriction week. But he has this thing called pride. I don't know. It was weird.
Hello.
So Jonah, you just missed Meowth saying he brought some memes this week because he knew that you are out of contention for playoffs. He thought you might meme along with him. Tell us what went into your decision making tonight.
I just thought those are the first 3 archetypes I could think of that worked. I mean, I kind of memed. I couldn't think of something good besides like Renounced Warlock for the minions and spells, and with the classes I had. So I was like, whatever. Todd Druid kind of works. And
You
then
brought a tier 1 deck, dude. That's not memeing. What?
Calling Tog Druid a meme is.
Well, the other 2 were
I'm tilted.
All right. Okay. The first one was a meme. It was Spiteful Priest. Like that deck was not good.
Yeah, we got a Spiteful Priest mirror out of it.
That's
yeah,
pretty
that was just a Spiteful Priest mirrors draw. Whoever do Spiteful, do Spiteful on. I just 7 now, so it's a bit different now. But yeah, Spiteful on 7, go Fate.
I need a hot take from both of you. Is the Reno OTK mage legit or a meme?
That's probably. I brought legit debts. I'll be honest. It was the first debts to think of, and I always think of legit debts first because I like winning. But in fairness, for me, Todd Druid is kind of a meme because I've played maybe like 10 games of Todd Druid ever, and I've never played the Psychomelon Todd Druid in my life because that was the first ever game I played of that deck.
Well, it turns out that deck plays itself. So
yeah, apparently, yeah, just draw Melon, win. Well,
yeah,
I thought I could get away. I honestly thought I could get away with the fact that you switched decks so early because my deck was such garbage, and I almost did until that 0 mana 5 damage AOE came down.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking the same thing. Tog is hoping to switch their deck for a better deck, and they arguably did not there. We were talking about how much armor gain you had, Meowth, and once the decks were switched.
Yeah,
And
he swapped
just
top deck
thinking if you were
Aluneth,
able
and I was like,
I realized I
But
could break Alaneth too to protect myself from fatiguing, which is kind of cool.
yeah, I liked that a lot. But Meowth, if you were able to get Malfurion earlier there, you might have been able to salvage that.
yeah, I actually think I
That
could
would have been
have.
funny. That would have been really
Um,
funny. I
That
would've liked
certainly
that.
would have been a turnaround there.
Uh,
But, what are you going to do? Meowth, we had chat pretty excited about your Yagenload Hunter.
Yeah.
Is this something that you've played before?
I mean, of course I've played Yogg Hunter. So like Spell Hunter was like the big one that stood out at me when I was picking classes for last week. So I mean, it was Spell Hunter, or it was like Renounce Warlock, and I had already used up my Warlock, so brought the Hunter, and I decided, Spell Hunter is actually a decent deck, so I got to meme it up somehow.
Yeah,
And
Spell
I had,
Hunter's good.
yeah, like my Yogg had like 30 spells on it, and then it just kept killing itself, and I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it was tough.
So
That second Yogg, I was really hoping would pull something huge. I really wanted to see, honestly, that second Yogg, when Branching Paths hit, I'm immediately thinking, if we can get 12 armor out of this, that puts you out of range of those 3 fireballs. But we just didn't get there.
yeah. It is what it is.
So what are you gonna do?
Live and die by the Yogg.
So Meowth, does this still leaves you in playoff contention, right?
Yeah, I think I'm 4-2. I just need, but I'm done. I've played all 6 of my matches because my bye is next week, so I just need a little bit of help. I need second and third to either win like 3-2 or to lose some games. So
yeah, yep, fair. Okay, so pretty likely that we'll be seeing you again, Meowth, and Jonah. We'll see you for one more week next week.
Sweet. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely, perfect. So before we let you guys go, is there anybody that you want to shout out, and do you want to tell us where we can get in touch with you? Jonah, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm JonahRah HS on Twitter, and on Twitch I'm just JonahRah. I mostly stream standard, but I might stream some end of the month stuff. These next 2 weeks, I'm going for like a top 25 finish in standard, so I might be streaming that if I want to turn my stream on or not. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Perfect. And Meowth, where can we see you?
oh yeah, you can find me on Twitch at GetMeowth. I stream 5 to 6 days a week. So if you're ever looking for some wild content, you can check me out there. If you're ever looking for some deck lists or some content outside of streams, you can always check out my Twitter. And I'm also writing articles for F2K. My latest one is addressing, the Blizzard comments about Wild. So had a lot of fun writing that one.
Yeah.
You guys should definitely check all that kind of stuff out.
That was a very good read.
Absolutely, check that out. We'll give a shout out to that. Well, thanks so much, guys. Always a good time. Blue, anything you want to say before we turn it off and let folks get ready for the next match?
Yep, in exactly 10 minutes, we have Craig of Canada versus Navalis, which will be cast by Appa and Cansanity. And then after that, at 9:30 Pacific or 12:30 Eastern for the Night Owls, we have Eon versus Mr. Dollstake. So a full night of Into the Wild League. So stick around and check it out.
So I just want to point out that all 4 of the players playing tonight are in playoff contention. That Eon versus Dollstake match is the one that Meowth really cares about for the playoffs. I think he wants that to go to 5 matches. And Craig and Novelist are second and third in the standings on their side. So
so you don't want me to. So you don't want me to cast that Eon Dollstake match because it'll be a 3-0 sweep. All right. Well, hopefully they can find someone else because right now we're still searching for an OBS operators. So you better get on the phones and start working them. Yeah.
I might cast that if I. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm sure that could be arranged. Although, yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter at this point if you saw the decks. Anyways, I should stop musing out loud and let the next team prepare. Thank you so much, guys. Great games.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.